Here, I was suffering from a heart condition for about 1.5 years. I couldn't do anything. It got so bad where someone had to be with me at all times. I had a machine that was hooked to me that when my heart would go into an out of control rhythm, it was like 307 per minute. They would have to come and put an injection in me to stop my heart. Literally, I would be dead for a few seconds and then start it back. And all that damage that has done, I had 2 surgeries and nothing happened, nothing was working. And then they took a lot of work and they called me into the office and they asked me, said, do you have someone with you? And they told me, you know, I had to get my neighbor to come in because I wasn't able to drive anymore. I wasn't able to do anything. And he told me the bad report that there was nothing they could do, that if I didn't get a heart transplant, that there was nothing else they could do for me. Pastor Mahash, he was back there, and it was like God just placed him back there at that door, and I've never seen him back there. And my friend, he said, just tell him something. So I told him, I said, I was just, you know, I was having a lot of doubts, didn't believe that I was worthy to be taken care of. And I told him, I said, I was battling some health issues, and he laid his hand where the probes were. I didn't tell him what kind of issues I had. I didn't, you know, and when he laid his hands, it burned where the probes, I've got scars where it burned. And I'm like, oh, you know, I was really wanting him to let go, but it was like, you know, and he prayed. And he said, Sunday, come to the altar. The next Sunday, I thought, nah, you know, everybody was up here and they was, you know, I was still thinking, you know, I was not worthy. And I got up there and he told everybody, you know, he was standing in front of this woman, and he said, nobody touch, hands off. And they literally took it serious because when he came to me, he was, and it wasn't a, when he did, I felt the heat. And it went in, and I know it was God. And it went in, and I went out, and whoever was supposed to call me decided they wasn't going to catch me because he said, no hands. I hit the ground. And when I got up, I walked from there to there, and I thought, there's something not right. And I walked from out there, and I'm like, oh, I'm hurting so bad. And the monitor never went off. And I'm like, it needs to go off. And my friend was saying, well, just take your time. And I walked. He said, I think it's the Lord. I think the Lord is still working with you. And I get to the car, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not breathing funny. And he said, just sit down. And I sit down in the car, and he goes to get in his car, and he says, wait there before you take off. Well, when he shuts his door, I jump out of the car. And, you know, that's strange because nobody would let me do anything, you know. And he said, what are you doing? So I run around my car. And he says, don't do it. And I looked around, and it was amazing because I ran around again. And he said, don't push it. Stop. And I went home, and that day I laid around. I'm thinking, something's not right. I get up and I cut my grass. I do all this stuff. And then the doctor himself calls that Monday, and he says, Ginger, he said, there's a problem. You need to get in here. And I said, what's wrong? He said, I don't know why the paramedics wasn't called out there. He said, you're having a lot of problems going on. I said, I'm cutting grass. And he said, don't do that. Get in here. Well, when I went in there, they did everything. They checked everything, and then they said, no, we're going to send you to the hospital. So I went in the hospital for 2 days. They checked from head to toe. He called me back, and he told me to bring someone with me. I brought my friend with me, and he said, you're not on the heart transplant list anymore. He said, there's no damage, but when they stop and start your heart, it was all damaged, and it was all, you know, it was just a horrible situation, but there was nothing there. He said I had a heart of a 26-year-old person.